Namaskar and welcome to Indian History and Archaeology. I'm your host, Dr. Lajwanti Shani. Last week, we interviewed two archaeologists, Dr. Rajesh SV and Dr. Abhayan GS. And today we have a presentation from Dr. Rajesh SV on their findings at the Juna Khatiya site in Kutch, Gujarat. So he's going to take over from here. But first, please like the video, and if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, then please do so with a click on the bell icon to receive all notifications of our videos.
The title of my presentation is Ancient Graves and Modern Insights, Early Harappan Burials at Juna Khatiya, Gujarat. So the names of my means Dr. Abhayan is there in this presentation. I have my co-directors like Honho, then Francis, then Dr. Subhash Bandari, and also a lot of team members and my students are also there. So first of all, I am thankful to all the co-directors, my team members, and also the villagers, then my teachers, Dr. Ajit Prasad, Dr. K. Krishnan, Professor J.M. Kenoyer, Dr. Professor Ravi Korsetter, Professor V.H. Sonavane, Dr. V.N. Prabhakar, Professor K.K. Bhan, Mr. O.S. Rawat. They all are very supportive to me, and many of them are acting as my, the teachers, and also they are helping me in solving many of the issues related with the studies at Juna Khatiya. And also the institutions like University of Kerala, Archaeological Survey of India, Gujarat State Archaeology Department, Parlak Foundation, KSKV Kutch University, MS University of Baroda, Deccan College Pune, Physical Research Laboratory Ahmedabad, and Highland Research Institute Nagaland, all are involved in this project. So while talking about the early civilizations, there are four major civilizations. One is Egyptian, then Mesopotamian, Indus, and Chinese civilization. Among them, Indus occupied maximum area. This was the biggest one. It covered an area of more than 1 million square kilometers. And this Indus civilization incorporated many regions in that. And within that, the southern area that comes to our present study area, that is Gujarat. So through the archaeological exploration starting from 1930s, and still date around 800 plus Harappan sites having different levels of affiliations were discovered in Gujarat. And these sites have many regional chalcolithic cultures, or means many cultures spanning for a time period from 3900 BC to 1000 BC. So some of the regional cultures are known as Anartha tradition. That is the oldest one, starting from 3900 to 1700 BC. Then Padri ware, black and red ware tradition, pre-Prabhas, pre-urban Harappan, Sindhi pottery, research slipware, micaceous red ware, classical Harappan, that is from 2600 to 1900. Then the Sorath Harappan, Prabhas ware, late Sorath, Leicester red ware. And when you come to the southern region, usually by around 1300, we are losing almost all the regional chalcolithic cultures in Gujarat comes to an end. But when you come to the southern region, in only 2 or 3 sites have evidence of some Malwa ware and Jorwe ware due to their connections with the Maharashtra region. Then while talking about the burials, we are from many sites, we are getting Harappan burials. From around 21 chalcolithic sites, we got burials, and majority of them are from the early Harappan levels. From the site Loteshwar, we got one human burial from the Mesolithic level. That is the crouched position. Here you can see in the bottom one. And in another burial, one child burial we got, that was in a flexed position. And also, it was not associated with any burial. This can be considered as the earliest early Harappan burial from Gujarat. And from the same site, during our explorations in 2016, University of Kerala got evidence of 2 human skeletons. Actually, they were doing some agricultural practices. Due to that, some skeletal remains were exposed, and one of the skull portion was associated with the 200 corner shell beads. And in another case, the skull portion was associated with 9 dendalium shell beads. So that clearly showed that they were wearing ornaments of shells. In one case dendalium and in another case conch shells. Then another site of interest is Nagwada, excavated by MS University of Baroda in between 1985 to 1989. In that site, around 6 burials were exposed, and among them 4 were pot burials, and the pottery from these sites have very much similarities to the ceramics recovered from the sites in Sindh region, and when they are very much connectable to sites like Amri, Nal, mainly from Amri and Kodjin sites. And also there were 2 extended human burials from the site, and they were also associated with human burials, burial pots. Next site of interest is Chantali. From Chantali, 2 burials got. One was a single burial having some kind of some vessels, and another one is a double burial, joint burial. And it was also associated with the pre-urban Harappan Sindh port. Ranod is a site located in North Gujarat region, and it was excavated by MS University of Baroda. Majority of the deposit was microlithic or Mesolithic in nature. In top portion, we got 1 human burial. There is a child burial of approximately 8-year-old child, and it was associated with some vessels of pre-urban Harappan nature. Then Mathutra, excavated in 1994, also revealed some evidence of a burial. Here means the deposit was very less, it was very flimsy, only 20 centimeters of deposit. In that means there were very good evidence for the pot bases in one portion of the trench, and in another place only got 1 teeth. So these pots were actually associated with the burials. So based on that, we can say that it is associated with the burial. Then from Surkotada, in 1972, when J.P. Joshi was excavating, he got some pottery from the cemetery that is very much similar to very much different from the classical Harappan pottery available in that time. It was very much connected to Sindhi Harappan pottery. And so this pottery, he treated them separately. But in the pits, he was not able to find any human skeletons. When University of Kerala surveying Surkotada region in 2016, outside the fencing of the site, we found 1 human skeleton. That human skeleton, it was exposed like we were found some portion of the skull and some portion of the limb fragments and those things. And then we informed the superintending archaeologist at that time, Dr. Jizendranath, and with his permission, we removed that skeletal parts and also the vessels associated with the burial. And very interestingly, those vessels are totally different from any of the vessels reported from any of the Chalcolithic sites in whole Greater Indus region. And then we tried to date the pottery, and it gave a date of around 3,350 BC. Clearly, it is a pre-Harappan ceramic. And also, the burial belonged to pre-Harappan time period. The burial has Dr. Veena Tripadi, who studied the skeletal remains, says the skeleton has an age of around 40 years. There is at Surkotada cemetery. There is a separate cemetery area located. There is almost 300 meter northwest of the Citadel Mount, and there means even this early Harappan pottery was found in the cemetery itself. So here you can see some of them early Harappan, the burials in Surkotada. Here you can see the pit burials. They had a stone slab covering at the site. Now comes the site Janan. The Janan is very near to Dholavira. It is only 14 kilometers away from Dholavira. This site was discovered by University of Kerala in 2016. And this site is very important because this gave a particular kind of ceramic that was only reported from 2 other sites in whole Gujarat. They are Somnath and Datra. The pottery we got is pre-Prabhas ceramic type, and it was also associated with large number of chalcedony blades and a few early Harappan ceramics. And here you can see some circular burials of the early Harappan time. Then comes the site Gajor. It was explored by Jaipal Singh Jadeja. Right now, he is working in the Gujarat State Archaeology Department. And here also means we are getting the vessels very much similar to the early Harappans. Here you can see the drawings. Now comes the site Daneti. Daneti was a site discovered by MS University of Baroda and excavated under Professor P. Ajit Prasad. And during his surveys, here he noticed around 43 sites, 43 burials within the site. And in that, around 16 to 18 burials were excavated. And the burials, here you can see, some of the burials had around 60 vessels in one burial. And some burials have a cane packing of here in the left uppermost. You can see one of the figures. In that, you can see that there is a big cane packing kind of thing around the burial. It has a size of around 15-meter length and 10-meter width. So here you can, this is the location of different burials at the site. Another site here, you can see a cane packing. Below the cane packing, there they use stone slabs. Once you remove the cane packing, there were stone slabs. Below the stone slabs, you can see this kind of pottery. And this, here also the site is, when the soil is very much acidic. Due to that, many of the skeletal remains are highly damaged, or means you are not getting any skeletal pieces. And these are some of the vessels, and these vessels were very much similar to the early Harappan ceramics, and some of the ceramics have similarities to classical Harappan vessels, and also got some bangles, some of the broad shell bangles, some shell beads were also reported from the site. So now I will come to the site Juna Khatiya. So in 2016, we were doing large-scale surveys in Kutch region, and we met a person named Narayan Bhai Jajani. He is the Sarpanch of the village. He was the Sarpanch of the village Khatiya, and he was a driver. And he told that in my village, there is one place where we are getting some kind of pottery, and you can see that. And with his help, we surveyed that site. This site is located almost in the western border of Kutch. It is very near to the border, and in that site, we have done our explorations, and we found large number of ceramics and few structural remains. Earlier, we thought that these structures were probably of habitation, were associated with habitation, because earlier no such structures were reported from any of the early Harappan sites, because all were stone made and those kind of things. So in 2016, we excavated the site. 2019 onwards, we excavated the site in 4 localities. The site has a size of around 16 hectares. And in that, we were able to locate more than 500 burials. In that, around 197 burials were excavated. So these are some of the ceramics we collected during our exploration, because many of these vessels were exposed due to the agricultural activities and also due to the construction of a pond within the site. So here you can see, and once you there were reserve slipware also. That is actually a regional kind of ceramic type, which is very much prevalent in Kutch region. Then here you can see the locality 1. There we excavated around 24 trenches, and these 25 trenches. In that means here you can see many of the burials or the graves are oriented in east-west direction. Then it is a locality 2. There we came across some big burials and some small kinds, and some of them without any stone borders or anything. Then locality 3, there we means large scale excavation. Here you can see the burials are oriented in different directions. Some are in east-west, some are north-south, some are in between. So means there is no specific pattern we can see. Then in last season, in 2022, we excavated the locality 4, and there also you can see means graves in various orientations, and also in one of the graves we got a complete animal skeleton. And I already mentioned that we were able to identify around 197 graves or evidence of 197 burials. Some of the burials were with structures. They were around 116. 45 pit burials were there. And in 17 places, they were like cluster of pottery. And in 16 places, they were identified as cluster of stones. And sometimes there were no indicators in two, and some of them were just like cluster of shell bangles. So in one case, it was a cluster of shell bangles. So total around 197 burial sites. Now, talking about the type of graves. So here means I am not going to explain much. So you can see, okay, while looking at the graves, you can see that one is with a what is pavement of stone, another one without pavement. The kind of stones used for the construction are different. So a lot of variations in graves we can identify. And they had a usual length of around 2 to 2.3 meter length. And the walls had a width of around 60 to 80 centimeter. And in some cases, 6 to 8 courses of stones were there. And they use sandstone, and some cases they use shale stone for the construction of these graves. And in another case, you can see there is a big one having a size of around 5 meter and having a pavement. And in some cases, we were able to identify only ceramics. And ceramics also means mainly the ceramics, not mainly, all the ceramics are found near the leg portions. There are huge burials. Our burial structures having the length of around 6.9 meter. And here you can see around I have given 3 burial structures. They had a length of around 6.9 meter and a total width of 2.4 meter with a 80 centimeter gap in the middle. So there is another burial. Here you can see a step to enter into the grave. So this is another burial. This is also a long burial. Then there were burials for the children also, and also means here also you can see burials having vessels, some bangles, and some burials have big boulders are also used for the construction. Then another grave having flat stone slabs kept like means in vertically, and this kind of graves were reported from Dholavira from the urban Harappan period. So here I means okay, I am not sure about the time period of this grave because though I am saying Juna Khatiya as a early Harappan burial site, there are possibilities that some of the burials may belong to a later period also. Probably people might be using the graves or the burial ground to bury the deads later also. Then another grave here, you can see an interesting thing like means in the base portion of the pit, they used another kind of soil, different kind of soil. First they paved there, and above that they kept the skeleton and the vessels. Here you can see the last. Then, as I mentioned, there were child burials. In one of usually the child burials had a length of 1 to 1.3 meter. In some cases, they used only small vessels. In some cases, normal kind of vessels were used, and some shell bangles also, small shell bangles. And there is a oval kind of burial also got. Once we remove the stones from there, then there was a very small box kind of burial, grave. But for it is very small to bury a child. So we are not sure for what purpose they use this kind of grave. Then another kind, there means okay, there was a heap of stones. Once we removed, we found a sandstone slab. Below that, some pottery were there. Another burial. Here you can see it's okay. These are different kinds of burials. Okay, only 2 stones kept there, and there are some Harappan vessels. In another case, some stones put together. Below that, there is a vessel. Here means in another one, this kind of burials. So like means okay, some slanting stones were kept. Below that, there were vessels, and in some cases, within a vessel, you can see another vessel. And for example, sometimes beakers kept, sometimes bottles were kept inside. Then another type of grave, that stone slabs were used. Below the stone slab, they kept the vessels. So we are not sure about the human skeletons because if the soil is very acidic, so the chance of preservation of bones are very less at this site. And this kind of burial was also reported from Thaneti. Another grave, here you can see associated with the graves, there were small bangles. So that clearly shows that they were meant for the children. Small vessels and small bangles. Then we also got double chambered burials. Like here you can see two chambers in a burial. And usually the vessels were mainly found in one chamber. Well, that chamber is in the east-west oriented. In this case, here you can see. Then, and in another case, in the double chambered burial, there is a separation within one chamber. And this one, the smaller one, is a later addition actually. It is not the part of this one. Due to that, so here you can see that it is actually, due to this, here you can see the some destruction in the structure, damages. And here you can see another burial. It is, this structure is actually skewed from the center because of the pressure within the soil. And also in some pits, they on top they use some stones. When we removed that, we were only seeing some pottery. So they were actually, this might be a symbolic pot burial. In another case, there were no indicators or anything. There we found one complete human skeleton, and that was associated with the 3 vessels. This is the, I can say this is the maximum complete skeleton we got from the site. We had only one almost similar, 1 or 2 skeletons are there, but they are much in much damaged condition. Here I can see another human skeleton from the site. And if you look into these bones, you can see that they are in very much damaged condition. Another one, another damaged human, another skeleton remain. Then from the side, we also got some charred bones. So they have some warping marks. Probably it might be indicating some kind of cremation at the site. Then in one case, we found some human bones within a dish. Actually, this might be happened within after the burial, probably the bone portion might have fell into this dish. And in another burial or grave, you can see 2 vessels below the stone. That indicate that probably the burial was made first and then the structure made. So that's why these vessels are below that. In one of the burials, we got double skulls, 2 skulls. So it clearly indicated there were joint burials. And also in some, while we are going through Dr. Veena Mitra was recently studying some of the human remains from the site, and she was able to identify in another burial, she was able to identify a joint burial kind of. Then they were associated with these burials were associated with shell bangles. Then another interesting feature is a cattle skeleton. One cattle skeleton got from one of the burials, and this cattle has an age of around 2.2 to 2.5 years. And usually in Harappan times, we are not getting any this kind of cattle burials. Or if we are getting any animal remains, they are usually associated with the humans. In Mehergar, when you come to period 1A, there means some lambs were buried along with the human. But in this case, we are only getting the animal remain. And there are a lot of studies are going on to understand the sex of the animal, and also and when Dr. Aben looked into the skeletal remains, he wasn't able to identify any cut parts or anything. So we can't say that it is related to any sacrifices or anything. So right now we can't say anything about this skeletal remain. Studies are going. Then I already mentioned that we are getting many shell bangles within the burials. Here you can see one broad shell bangle having a size of around 5 centimeter width. In some cases, shell bangles were found like in both the hands they were wearing. Here you can see in bones, they were attached to the bones. And in some cases, in 16 to 9, in one burial, we got 24 shell bangles. And in one hand, 19 were there. And in another one, 4 were there and 1 shell bangle was in a dish. And in some cases, they used both thin and thick bangles and these broader bangles. These broader bangles are very much similar to the shell bangles reported from the sites like Shaki Tumb, and where Dr. Kenower is right now studying these shell bangles, and he strongly believes that these are more connections with the Central India, Central Asia, and the sites in the Baluchistan area. Some of the shell bangles here, we got more than 100 shell bangles from the site. Also, we got shell beads from 2 burials. We got similar kind of shell beads. And in one burial, we got around 155 shell beads, and in another one, 123 or something. And also, we got a few microstriated beads, then lapis beads, then terracotta, 1 or 2 terracotta beads, and from the surface, 1 stone bead. And means Dr. Kenner, while he was looking at it, he says that this stone bead belonged to later period, but this one we got from the surface. Then from the site, we are not getting any of the lithic objects or means any lithic waste from the within the burials. We are only getting them from the surface. From the surface, we got large amount of shell blades, stone blades, mainly of chalcedony. Here you can see the cores were there, blades were there, and some points were there, and a lot of lithic debitage also. So it might be indicated probably they might be using this burial ground after the people who were making the stone blades left, or means this cemetery, once they left the cemetery, the people might have used more. So these are only because we are getting the materials only from the surface. So we need to understand that thing also. Then from the surface, we got 2 portraits having Harappan graffiti, Harappan script graffiti. Some grinding stones were also from the surface. And also, as I mentioned, from graves, we got many pottery. In one grave, there were around 60 pottery, and usually there were 7 to 8 vessels in one grave. And in some cases, 1 to 3 graves, 3 pottery, and in one case, 1 pottery was also we got. The vessels included, these vessels were very much similar to the ceramics reported from Amri and the southern Baluchistan region, and also the sites, the ceramics reported from the sites like Nagwada and also Vaharvotimbo, Matutra, etc. And apart from the class, this early Harappan ceramics, the regional ceramic type like reserve slipware was also very much used in that site. Here you can see one of the bottles that is of typical reserve slipware. The shapes included mainly beakers, bowls, dishon stands, cups, vases, etc. And in that also means even within the burials, in locality 1, they were mainly using beakers and vases and small cups. When you come to locality 3, they were using big jars, and also instead of cups, they were using bottles. So this might be indicating different groups of people, or this might be of different sex groups. Right now, we are not sure. The people from different villages, we need to understand that more. And also means we tried to date the site, date the materials from the site. Unfortunately, the site is very acidic, and the preservation of collagen in the bones are almost none. And one shell bangle we were able to date, it give a date of 2827 BC, that very much fall into the early Harappan period. And also means we tried to date one of the seeds we got from one of the beakers. But the even the means we had a doubt that it might be belonging to the modern period, but still we tried to date that thing. That gave a date of very modern age. That is of 2009 AD. That means there was a later intrusion from the surface. And in the site right now, there are many studies are going on, DNA analysis are going on, isotope studies are going on, residue analysis, dental wear pattern analysis, then zooarchaeological researches, radiocarbon dating, GIS and remote sensing dating are also going on. And so now we were able to identify such a big cemetery. Now, from where these corpses were coming. So in order to understand, we done thorough survey in and around the site. We done survey, and due to our survey, within 5 kilometers circumference, we were able to identify, or radius, we were able to identify sites like Paddabat, Lakhapar, and also the site Dojagat. So in that means, Paddabat means excavated last year. Dr. Abhayan will talk much more about this site. And also the site Lakhapar will be excavating in the coming season. And another potential site is Dojagat, but this site is within the forest and very interesting site. But we are not sure that, so we will be getting the permission from the forest authorities or not. So we are waiting for that thing. And here you can see these are some of the pottery from the site Dojagat. And this is the photo. These are the photographs of Paddabat before excavation. And so here means right now I only presented essence of what we got from the site and what I just gave you some I have shown some pictures too. So now means we are doing a lot of studies. Probably within next 1 to 2 years we can come up with much interesting results, and also means now trying to understand the people who are associated with this thing and these burials. And in that, now Dr. Abhayan's study is that Paddabat and its excavation will be that can give more inputs, and the other excavations of the sites like Lakhapar and all these things can contribute much to understanding of the site Juna Khatiya. And with that hope, I am ending my presentation here. And actually, recently, means Dr. What's his name? Dr. Massimo Vidale, who was studying means some of the burials in Iran. He has found similar kind of burial structures at the site known as Kesik. So so we are actually waiting for the report to publish. And last week I talked to Professor Massimo, and he told that okay, it is exactly similar. The long burials are exactly similar in shape, but not very much sure about the vessels and those kind of things, because he need to publish that thing. So we are waiting for that thing. So definitely that's what I'm saying. The certain kind of materials clearly shows the kind of movement of the people. Like, for example, I mentioned about the shell bangles. Professor Kinner was studying the shell bangles. He strongly believe that these shell bangles had similarities to the shell bangles reported from the sites like Shahi Tumb, and also the sites in Central Asia like Namaste and those kind of things. So it shows it's a wide kind of a network, trade network, and those kind of things. So yeah, so we are waiting for them different results coming from different studies, and once we can combine them together, we can give more meanings to this site.
That's right. Yes. So a few of the graves look to be deep, almost like vaults.
Yeah, usually means okay. Yeah, usually what they have done is that first they made the pit. Sometimes the depth of the pit is around 1.3, 1.4 meters. And within that pit, they made the walls. So the inner side of the wall is always finished, and the outer side is attached to the soil. So it is like a similar way they constructed it this kind of burials.
Right. So it's like a vault in the ground, but
yes,
is it covered with a stone slab on top, or is it soil?
Not we got in some cases, mainly in pits, we got those kind of covers. In some burials, we believe that there were stone slabs, because some of the stone slabs fell inside, and it's okay. Those kind we got from one or two, but we don't have any real indicators like saying that okay, this was kept like this. We don't have the similar kind of that real indicator of stone slabs below or on top of this kind of burials. So, but we presume that in some of the burials they definitely use the big stone slabs.
Very interesting. I don't know if
Thank
we
you.
have this in a lot of the Harappan sites, though. But it's an
No,
interesting.
because in the similar kind of structures were not reported from any of the non-Harappan sites. Because so that's why I'm saying now we can see some remote similarities with the burials from Kestik region in Iran. So I am not saying that
Yeah.
they are exactly similar or whatever, because I am waiting for the publication to come out. If they are similar, they are interesting. If they are not similar, also that is also interesting. So waiting to see those.
One last question here.
Yeah,
The
sure.
surface findings that you mentioned, um, what do you know about the site reuse over there? I mean, we've had site reuses at habitational sites, but at a burial site being reused.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
yeah. Here means, yeah. I am saying, I am not saying that is reused or means that kind of because there are two possibilities of in the kind of that stone blades. You are only getting from the surface. So
yeah,
one chance is that probably they might be means used to that land for as a workshop. Then later they only dug the pits for the burial. Okay.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
there's the most probable thing. Now, regarding the reuse, if I want to say about the reuse, now for agricultural purpose, definitely the villages are using the land. They are
Yes.
destructing the land, and so because it is not, they are not much, not the villages or nearby the villages. They are now converting the land into agricultural field. So due to that, a lot of destructions are happening. That's a kind of reuse. And also some graves, some of them are looted. They tried to identify some treasures, and means they haven't found anything. So then what they put is that later they put some grinding stones of more late medieval period within that and just buried them, like just covered them. Okay. So once you excavate the thing, you can understand, okay, it is actually a destroyed one. Or the means removed soil, they remove the materials from that. So no other means, so there is no big constructions or anything in that within the site actually right now.
So very interesting, and I think we'll have to look forward, wait, and find out more about other settlements also, and then we can
Sure,
relate these sites together
definitely.
as well.
Yeah, because the many things are, only side which have some kind of relation is Dhaneti. There is almost 100 kilometers away from this site. And also
Mhm.
because there is one excavated site. So now we are waiting for the biggest problem is that now other sites have similar kind of structures or anything. So we are trying to understand, and also the dating is a big problem for us. We are not due to the acidic soil, we are not getting the samples, and so we tried with various labs and not getting dates. And so now we are trying to date sediments and those kind of things. We hope that we will find some dates, but still means okay. These are certain issues. So we are spending a lot of money in dating the things and not getting the dates. That's a little disappointing thing, but still. I hope that the collaborators they are also working very hard to get different or I try to identify different techniques, and so I hope that soon we may sort out that issue also.
Thank you for joining us today, and if you stayed on till the end, then you have, of course, enjoyed the video, I'm assuming here. Please do let us know on the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so, and click on the bell icon to receive all notifications for our videos. This comes from YouTube at no cost to you. You may also share this video with anyone else who would enjoy it. I'll see you soon again with another video.